right now at 6. Big storms spark new fires. Why the folks responsible for Portland's clean water are keeping a close eye on the flames.
Plus, beefing up security on campus.
They're trained in restorative justice practices. They're trained in de-escalation.
The new presence you'll see at Portland's middle schools when school starts up.
Then, too big for Old Town?
The city has obviously a need for affordable housing, and I think this is a great site for it.
The reaction to a plan for 30 stories of affordable housing.
And an epic race that's only in Oregon.
You gotta eat a lot of carbs to get from this mountain all the way down to that beach.
We'll take you live to the mother of all relays, Hood to Coast.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with the aftermath of a long night of lightning and thunder with some 1,500 lightning strikes hitting the region. The National Weather Service says spanning from Northern California all the way to southern Washington.
And now one of those strikes is being blamed for sparking a new wildfire east of Portland. Clackamas County fire officials say the Camp Creek fire sparked around 10:30 last night near the Bull Run Reservoir. This is in a heavily wooded area about 10 miles northeast of Sandy, near the Clackamas-Multnomah County line.
Let's show you a time lapse from an alert wildfire skycam in Brightwood. You can see it sending up a good amount of smoke there. Last update, this fire has burned 60 acres on Forest Service land, with Oregon forestry officials bringing in planes for water drops. And while the blaze is not threatening any homes, the Portland Water Bureau says it is watching very closely since Bull Run is a key part of the region's water supply. They want to reassure the public right now that your drinking water remains safe. Okay, some new wildfires, another day of hazy skies in Laurel, a steamy 93 degrees over the Rose City on this summer Friday.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino for the latest conditions. Matt.
Yeah, that Camp Creek fire may be contributing to our hazy air too, but up on Mount Hood, it was cloud cover. They had showers and thunderstorms this morning for the start of Hood to Coast. The clouds are clearing up there, and it's cooled off a lot in the mountains. It's only 60 degrees, been in the upper 50s for much of the afternoon. But on Doppler radar, it is noticeably barren of much activity at all. In fact, around the state right now, there's really nothing going on. The fires, though, showing up, and we're getting smoke from the south as well. And our air quality continues to deteriorate. We've gone down a couple of our stations to unhealthy for sensitive groups in town. It's been in the moderate category for much of the day. So we'll continue to watch this. I think it should improve a little bit tomorrow, but if we get an east wind, then smoke from that Camp Creek fire up in the Bull Run may contribute to some bad air here in the Portland area. It's worse as you go south and get closer to the fires east of Eugene and then south of Medford, the Smith River complex there in Northern California. So it is going to be a hazy weekend. It'll look a lot like this. 93 right now. We certainly have had plenty of 90-degree days this summer. More on that a little bit later. Here's the smoke model, and you can see the Lookout fire continues to spread smoke to the north, as does the Smith complex there, as we have south and southeast winds aloft, right? It won't be until about Tuesday when we see a shift of a westerly wind. That'll bring in cleaner air. We'll get rid of the smoke and finally get rid of the haze. But hot and hazy for the weekend. Thunderstorms only east and over the Cascades, but next week will bring some cooler weather and maybe a few more showers. Guys?
Relief on the way. Thank you, Matt. Let's get to your headlines now, starting in Lane County, where containment on the Bedrock fire burning in the Willamette National Forest is now up to 50%. That is great news. Firefighters have held it at just over 31,000 acres for several days now. To the northeast of that, the Lookout fire continues to grow, burning an additional 1,700 acres in just the last 24 hours. Containment there at 16%. That is up from 6% yesterday. That fire was sparked by lightning back on August 5th.
New at 6, a longtime ticket reseller has filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against two companies that provide security for the Moda Center after a security officer allegedly made a racist comment at him. Back in February, Byron Brown says he was selling tickets for an Eagles concert in the designated resale area outside the arena when the officer demanded he leave. When Brown said he was allowed to be there, the officer allegedly told him to, quote, go back to the cotton fields. Two companies are named in the lawsuit: Landmark Event Staffing Services and Vulcan Sports and Entertainment. KGW reached out to both for comment and have not heard back. Our Catherine Cook just spoke with Mr. Brown a short time ago. She'll have his side of the story coming up tonight at 11.
One of Oregon's top House Democrats is set to face a recall vote. The Secretary of State says enough signatures have been collected to force an October 3rd election. for State Representative Paul Holvey of Eugene. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union targeted Holvey, a former union rep, after the House Labor Committee, which he chairs, tabled a bill that would have allowed cannabis workers to unionize. Holvey was first elected in 2004. Oregon's last successful recall was in 1988.
Some major changes are coming to Triet bus routes beginning Sunday. Route 54 between Beaverton and Hillsdale Highway will become a frequent service line with arrivals every 15 minutes. A number of other lines will gain more frequent service with some route adjustments. However, all of the 60 number lines serving Markham Hill will be discontinued due to low ridership. Other nearby bus lines will be shifted to continue serving OHSU, Dornbecker Children's Hospital, and the VA Medical Center. Check trimet.org for all of the route changes. Students in Portland head back to school Tuesday, and this year some middle school students will find a change in the form of new campus security.
Our Thomas Schultz is in the newsroom. Thomas, these are not the school resource officers, the police officers that the district eliminated a few years back. What can you tell us about this program?
Yeah, David, these are campus safety associates, or CSAs as they're known. They're not law enforcement officers, as you mentioned. They don't carry a gun, and they also don't punish students. But PPS has decided to now add more CSAs to middle school campuses. They were already present at high schools. This is part of a 13-part recommendation from the Superintendent's Safety and Security Task Force. School administrators say each middle school will now have a CSA who patrols campus during the school day. There will also be rover associates who monitor PPS's K-5 and K-8 schools. Meanwhile, high schools will have additional security staff who will work longer hours than a year ago. They will now monitor campus from 8 in the morning until 8 at night.
They're the trusted adult for students. They're oftentimes the first face that students see as they arrive to school.
A says eventually she'd like to see CSAs at all elementary schools as well, but parents I spoke with today say they're in favor of the additional security measures, but think having one of these associates at each elementary school may just be a step too far. Laurel?
Thank you, Thomas. We have an update this evening on a proposed skyscraper packed with affordable apartments on the edge of downtown Portland.
Tim Gordon joins us now. Tim, it is widely understood we need more affordable housing. So what's the problem with this one?
Well, guys, it's basically about the size of it here. We're talking major high-rise, more than 700 units, and the city says it's just way too tall. When it comes to affordable housing, you'd think the more, the better. But in the case of the building you see in this design rendering, the city of Portland says it is too big for where the developer wants to build it. That would be on this lot near the west end of the Burnside Bridge. New buildings here are limited to 75 feet.
The city has obviously a need for affordable housing, and I think this is a great site for it.
Curtis Reistad says he is a fourth-generation Portland builder who wants to help with the affordable housing crisis. Burnside One, a 728-unit, LEED Platinum certified apartment building, is his vision, and he thinks the city should allow him to build it here.
This is my attempt to try to be part of the solution. I'm hitting some roadblocks. Hopefully I meet with the city council and they give us a variance on the height limitation of 75 feet.
The problem is building codes are building codes. The Bureau of Planning and Sustainability says the 75-foot limit here is for a variety of reasons, including proximity to the river. And the biggest reason, it is in a historic preservation zone, and 350 feet is nearly 300 feet too tall, even for affordable housing.
Well, we understand the need, but the zoning code currently limits buildings on this site to 75 feet, and we have to work within those limits.
Reistad is approved and has begun building another affordable housing project on Northeast Gleason, a mass timber mixed-use design with 105 units for those making 60% of the area median income, called Timberview. But this downtown location would be a much larger project situated near the Max lines in an area that could use a boost. And Reistad doesn't think 350 feet should be too big of one for people who need a more affordable place to live.
There's not going to be a penthouse suite. You know, if you want that, you can go to the Ritz, right? You've got the Pearl down there. Why not have that for affordable housing? The politicians have been talking about affordable housing and how they support it. Well, now it's to put up or shut up.
Yeah, pretty blunt there. Tim, is this the end of the road for the project, at least in skyscraper form? What happens next year?
Well, the developer hopes, no, not at all. He's really lobbying publicly here to have a meeting with the city council to see if they can work something out. And that can be a very long process, though, to get the council to change codes. So that may take quite some time to actually happen. The city, for its part, says, hey, we want to make this happen, to build this building, but maybe the best bet is to find a different location.
We'll see what happens. Thank you, Tim.